Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time watching, then welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do this grey and white cut crease using the Jeffree Star Cremated palette. I wasn't actually expecting this shade to come out grey, so that kind of was a happy accident because I really loved the way that it turned out. But I'm trying to use up all the different shades in the palette, so I thought I would give those shades a go. I noticed that you guys are really enjoying my cremated palette tutorials, so I figured I would do another one, and I'll probably do heaps more too because it's what you guys want to see. So expect to see a lot more of these videos from me in the future. And if you would like to see more and you're not already subscribed, then make sure you do that now. So if you guys would like to see how I created this grey and white cut crease using the cremated palette, then keep on watching. Okay, so eyebrows, white eyeshadow base, and making sure to bring the base out further than the eye because we are going to wing the eyeshadow out, so just want to make sure that there's base there for the eyeshadow to stick to. And I've only applied this in my crease area because I'm going to be carving out the crease again and removing the product off of the eyelid, so I don't really want to waste my product on that, and I'm almost running out, so I need to be frugal. Also, another thing that I'm going to mention is that I'm using a white eyeshadow base because that's the only base I have, and the concealer that I bought recently, I don't think it's suitable to use as an eyeshadow base because it's so like liquidy. So I'm just using my P.Louise base, and the white one is the only one that I have. So you guys can wear a nude base because we are working with darker colors, so it's not really going to matter. But yeah, what we're going to do is apply the crease color first. So the color I'm going to be using is this shade here called Inheritance, and I'm applying that using a small blending brush. And I do this in all of my videos, but just in case this is your first time watching my videos, I'm just going to show you the difference between a regular sized blending brush and the blending brush that I'm going to be using. So the smaller size of the brush is going to help me get the eyeshadow in a more precise area and not all over the eye, but it's also going to keep the edges nice and blended out because we're working with darker colors and we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help with the blending because it can be quite hard. So I'm applying this Inheritance shade to my crease and keeping this quite, confined to my crease. We don't want to blend it up too high because once we add in the next shades, that's going to bring it up even further. So keeping this quite in the crease and applying it in little circular motions, and that's going to help buff that color in and get it really packed on, but it's also going to keep the edges nice and blended so that it's easier to blend out after. And I'm also bringing this out in a winged shape in the outer corner of the eye, so just dragging this out, and that's going to help create a more lifted effect with your eyes, and I just really like the way that it looks. Okay, so that is the base of the crease color down. It's quite interesting actually because in the pan it looks quite brown, but I've put it on the eye and it looks like, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's like a greeny kind of grey. I definitely don't have any other eyeshadow like it, so I'm not mad about it, but I just thought it was going to be brown. Like if you look at the palette in the photos, I kind of got the impression that it was going to be grey, black and some browns. But most of the brown looking shades that I've tried actually come out quite grey. So that's just something to maybe take note of if you're looking at getting the palette, or if you've ordered it and you're waiting for it to arrive. That's just something that I thought was worth mentioning, that basically the whole palette is greys and blacks. So yeah, I'm not too fussed. I'm actually quite happy about that. All the colours I've tried are pretty unlike any other shades that I have. So yeah, I think that's quite cool. But anyway, so now we've got the base down for the crease. Now we're going to blend it out a little bit more. So I'm going to be taking this fluffy crease brush. It's not quite a blending brush, but it does the job well, and we don't want it to be too fluffy at this stage because we are going to use another color to blend them all out. But I'm going to go in with this shade here called Eulogy, and I'm applying that pretty much in the same way that I've applied that first shade Inheritance. So applying this all throughout the crease, surrounding pretty much what we've just done, and applying this in small circular motions with the brush half on the shade that we've already got on the eye and half above that on the blank skin. And that is just going to blend those two colors together nicely, and we're adding in another shade to blend them out fully, so we don't need to worry about the outer blend too much at this point, but we're really focusing on the blend between Inheritance and Eulogy. So trying to get that as blended as possible and just getting that color nice and packed on surrounding what we've just done. Okay, so it's a little bit blended out and it doesn't look too great at the moment, but it is a work in progress. So the next thing we're going to do is blend that out even more, so get the blend nice and how we want it basically. So I'm taking a fluffy blending brush and I'm going to go in with this shade here called Bridal Gown, and I'm applying this the same way again as I applied those other two shades, but this time we're really focusing on the blend as a whole. So we're trying to get the edges of what we've applied nice and blended out. So applying in small circular motions, half on the colour on the crease and half on the blank space surrounding what we've just applied, and just blending and applying until we can get that blend nice and even and looking like a gradient of colour. Okay, and now that we've got the blend looking nice and blended, I'm just going to go back in with the other shades. Well, I'm going to use all three shades actually, and just really build up that colour so that we can get it nice and blended, but also we want it to have a lot of pigment and pack a lot of punch. So just applying and blending and applying and blending until we're happy with the way that it looks. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the way that the blend is looking now, so I'm going to move on to the next step. And before I carve the crease, I'm going to first prep the eye to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking some Vaseline and a flat rounded concealer brush, and I'm using this to pretty much just carve out the crease like I would if I was using a base, but this is just going to loosen up the makeup and make it easy to remove. So I'm doing this in the shape that I want to be doing my cut crease, because that's going to give us our guidelines for where we're going to put the base when we apply that. So I'm just loosening up the product, and then I'm going to take a cotton tip and wipe that away and remove that, and making sure to wipe off all of the Vaseline so that we don't have any residue left on the eyelid, because that can affect our base application. Okay, so now that we've got the eyelid prepped, we're going to carve out the crease for real. So I'm going to be using this flat rounded concealer brush and applying my P.Louise base in the shade Rumor Zero. So I'm just doing a regular cut crease from the tear duct out to the outer third of the eye, and I'm applying this in patting motions, and that's going to prevent the eyeshadow from mixing in with the base and making it muddy, and it's also going to help the application be nice and even along the entire eyelid. I'm not going to worry too much about the outer corner of the eye because that is going to blend into that crease colour, but making sure that we get the cut crease nice and precise and applied in an even layer all the way across the eyelid. Okay, so now we're going to apply some eyeshadow on top of the base that we've just applied. So first I'm going to apply the darkest crease colour, so that's Inheritance, using that same brush to the outer corner of the eye and blending it onto the eyelid. And I'm going to use the second darkest shade, the medium shade that I used in the crease, to blend the darkest shade across onto the lid. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this shade here called Deathblow, so it's the pure white shade, using an all over shader brush to the remainder of the eyelid where we've carved it out. So just applying this in patting motions to pack the colour on and to make sure that we're not mixing any of the other eyeshadows with the white, because we want this to be as white as possible so that we can get that really good contrast. Okay, so that is the top of the eye complete. Now we're going to move to the under eye. So I'm applying some of my P.Louise base first, and then what I'm going to do is, using the same brushes that I was using for the crease, I'm going to be applying those same crease colours to the under eye. So starting with Inheritance, the darkest shade, and making sure to really pack this on so that we can get the full amount of pigment. Then blending that out using Eulogy, the medium shade, and applying in little circular motions so that we can get the colours blended together nicely. And then finally moving on to Burial Gown, the lightest shade, and using that to blend the whole thing out. And just making sure that it joins up nicely with the wing that we've got in the outer corner of the eye. Okay, now I'm going to go do my face makeup and then I'll be back to finish off the look for you guys. Okay, so we're almost complete. I'm getting very excited now. And the next thing we're going to do is add in some highlighter. So I'm actually going to use the palette and I'm going to go in with this shade here called Afterlife. Since I got the palette, I've been using the Diamond Ashes shade as highlight like every time, but I just realized that this would be a nice highlighter shade, so I'm going to give it a go. And I'm going to use two different brushes. So I'm going to take these two. So the larger angled brush is for my face and the small pencil brush for around my eyes. So I'm applying that Afterlife shade to my tear duct using that small pencil brush and also my brow bone. And then using that angled brush, I'm going to be applying that to my cheekbones, the tip of my nose, and my Cupid's bow. Next, I'm going to add in some eyeliner to my waterline. So I'm going to be taking this NYX Crayon eyeliner in the shade Pure White. And as I was saying before, I'm just applying this to my waterline. And that's going to help open our eyes up a little bit and just make them look a bit larger. And for my lips, I'm just going to apply a nude lipstick. So I'm just taking my Lime Crime Lip Glaze in the shade Cash. And now the last thing left to do is just to apply mascara and false eyelashes. So the lashes I'm going to be using today are my new favourite, which are my XO Beauty Faux Mink lashes in the style Cupid. I'm going to pop these on off camera and then I'll be back to show you guys the completed look. Okay, so here we have the completed look with lashes. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. There's something about cut creases with a white lid that I really love. It just looks so crisp and clean, and like there's a lot of contrast, which I really like. So I'm really happy with this. The white from the Cremated palette has got to be the most bright, vivid white that I've ever used, so I'm in love with that. I also really love the Afterlife shade. As a highlighter because it's just like this nice subtle glow. It'll be really good for everyday wear, but it still is nice and, you know, shiny, because I always love to have like a pretty bright highlight. And obviously I love highlighter on the tip of the nose. I don't know why. And I really like the grey with the white as well. So I really wasn't expecting it to be grey. I was kind of hoping and expecting it to be brown because that's how it looks in the pan. But I'm not mad about it. I really like the grey with the white. It's a really nice contrast. And it's just a little bit softer than it would be if it was like a black. I'm not 100% loving this lipstick with this look, but my options on lipstick are quite limited. So I just kind of have to make do with what I've got. I do need to buy some more. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this look. I just really like it. I hope you guys liked it too. And if you did, then please thumbs up and subscribe and tick that little bell button so you can get notified every time I post a new video. I hope you guys have a great day and I will see you in the next one.